Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Ready to enjoy pool at a whole new level? At PoolDog.com, we know that playing your best is simply more fun. That's why we offer a huge selection of pool cues from all the top brands backed by our 60-day satisfaction guarantee, including chalked cues. Build your ideal cue with custom options like shaft upgrades, precision tips, and more. You'll feel the difference immediately with a stick that's truly an extension of you. Get the performance you need, risk-free. Find your perfect cue at PoolDog.com.
Well, there you go. What's up,
There you
my
go.
man?
Nice
How
commercial.
are you,
Yeah.
buddy?
Good. Yeah, it's Friday. It's the Friday before Vegas. There's all sorts of stuff going on.
Listen, what's that alcohol tab going to be like on day one, Mike? Let people know. 'Cause you,
I don't drink
no,
a lot.
you don't.
I just like
Yeah. You just that's the thing with Mike. He likes to have a good cocktail every now and again. 5 o'clock.
But yeah, no. What I got to do is get my sleep this weekend. I know that.
Dude, I don't know what it is, man. My sleep schedule's been all kinds of out of whack, and I have no idea why. And you know what, man? For like the first time that I can remember in a long time, like I'm a little like I'm feeling some kind of way about being home versus being out in Vegas. Like I feel like I can't wait to get there. You know what I mean? Like I'm missing out. Yeah,
Really?
and I don't remember ever feeling like that.
There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on right now. Cool. We're sitting in offices in different parts of the country.
You know,
watching from.
And it's not like it's in, no disrespect to you in Wisconsin, but it's not like it's in fucking Wisconsin or something. You know what I mean? Like it's, Miami and then in Las Vegas, so that doesn't.
Yeah, I know. So if you could be in either place right now, where would you be?
Oh, it wouldn't even be close. I'd be in Vegas because the expo out there, the expo out there that they have, and I mean, granted, I haven't been to the Westgate, but I know how CSI does it at the Rio, and it's just like. It's a pool lovers like carnival for like 10 days,
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And the other thing is like you don't just have the league stuff going on out there, and of course the vendors. Then you got the pro side of things, with all the players that are in town right now as well, playing for decent events. But then once you're done, you go to Griff's at night, and it's standing room only, thick as thieves in there, and you got a little bit of action going on, depending on who else is in town. You'll have some big table action, whatever, and it's just like, ball bangers, you name it. So it's a place to be, man, for sure. So that was
someone told me I had to go to Miami. I wouldn't go kicking and screaming on that either.
No. But I think they're reaching on that Miami thing. Like every time I hear, depending on who you ask,
it's a half.
Is it? Okay.
It's a half hour out.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they're reaching a little bit, saying Dallas Fort Worth too.
Sure, no, they are. I mean, it rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, But in Texas, everything's a drive, so you're just like used to it. You know what I mean? But you're not like thinking of it as a destination spot when it comes to like other places, or like Miami, I guess I should say. But the place does look nice. Premier League pool is going on out there in Lauder. I don't even know, Lauderhill, whatever it's called. I've watched a little bit of it, Mike. I tell you what, I watched a lot more this year to this point than I've watched in the last 2 years, I want to say. The year that Shane won, and then last year when Moritz won. And so I want to get your kind of takeaways on what's going on out there. What are maybe some surprises? Maybe what are some are not surprises? But before we jump into that, I had a great conversation yesterday with Jason Sword about Derby City, and that was a fun show. If you guys missed that, go check that out as well. But yeah, Mike, when are you heading out to Vegas, by the way? I think I asked this before.
Monday morning.
Oh, okay. When do you get there?
I'll be there by noon on Monday.
Okay, maybe we can catch an Uber or something. So I think I'm arriving.
What time you at?
I think around the same time. I'm pretty sure around like 11:40, something like that. So
yeah, text you over the weekend. Send you my stuff.
Yeah. I'm pumped though, man, for sure.
So give me the highlights. Give me the highlights on the Jason Sword interview. I did not see
I mean, it was good in the sense of like nothing was off limits. Jason was pretty great in that regard, so I appreciated that. Like other people, we gotta like I don't say we gotta tiptoe. I gotta tiptoe around just because I'm trying to like I that balance is still a little difficult to find at times. So I'm trying to figure out this damn thing here, but yeah, I mean, all in all, was good. Like you talked about the Expo stuff, and then pulling the live streaming that pissed off a lot of fans. Talked about the WNT stuff. Talked about obviously Federer and Filler and all those things that were going on out there. It's staying in Louisville, which is great. I guess if you're from that area, it's great because there's always rumors as far as it moving locations. But I think like for the first time in forever, it feels like they're trying to modernize it, which is great. And I feel like the last 2 years in particular, like 2 years ago, it was a good first step. This year, I feel like it was an even bigger step. And I'm just excited to see what it, I want to see fans support the event. I want to see players obviously support the event as well, because that was a big talking point. How do you get, big guys there? And obviously a part of that is money and things like that, or a big part of that, I should say. And so, yeah, I mean, nothing was off the table. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I told you yesterday, and I told Jason this at the end of the show. I said, man, I told Mike it was going to be like a 30-minute interview, and then we would just transition out, and it would be a wrap. It ended up being like an hour and 40 minutes. I mean, it went on. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised, man. But all in all, it was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm getting ready for Vegas. I'm already like starting to kind of like I'm gonna get my list together probably tonight, because I always make a list of everything that I need for traveling. What's up, Neto? Like, because if not, I'll just fucking forget something, Mike. Especially when I'm gonna be gone for like.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Something important.
yeah, it never fails. And then I start like I'll pack, and then I'll pick it up, and by this point, Mike, I can already feel like I'm within a good pound and a half of 50 pounds. Like when I left my suitcase, I'm like, it's 46. I'm good. And then sure enough, I'll be right there on 46, baby. So you literally have no idea how excited I am when I ballpark it, and then I get to the airport and I hit the number, and I'm fucking like, yes. Yeah. I'm serious, man. So anyway, Mike.
Did you ever bet with the guy at the counter on what?
No. Well, that's like the only time I run good. So I'll win that one, and then I'll go on a losing streak, and then I'll go on a losing streak out in Vegas, of course. So that's just the way that life is at times. So, but yeah, like I said, I've been checking out some Premier League pool, and I want to start with that, Mike, because obviously there was a lot of talk about a few guys going in. I mean, the field going in, the field. We had Jeremy on the show the other day. What were some of your takeaways over the first few days? As I'll bring up the standings, but what were some things that you've been taking away from that event as it got kicked off?
Well, you just kind of like watch numbers the first couple of days, right? I mean, I've seen a couple matches, and a lot of them go. Everybody always writes, I lost a couple hill matches. It's a race to 5. It's going to be about 97 hill matches. It's not a lot. So. It's interesting. It's it's a slog. It's kind of like just got to like hang in there, not get too wound up over one match or one shot or another, because you just have so many matches in a row. But for Koch, you snap 10 out of 11. That's pretty good run in a format like that. Against good players. I mean, you just figure percentages. Luck, whatever, you're going to lose, 3, maybe 4 out of.
Yeah, you'll be on the wrong side of it. You would imagine, just from a roll the dice standpoint. Yeah.
So it almost is like a roll of dice. So for him to go 10 out of 11, that's pretty impressive. And we all wanted to, certain things we were watching. We wanted to watch Justin Bergman, see how he did. We wanted to watch Torsten and see how he did.
Well, they've had some interesting results, Mike, and depending on how you're looking at it, and whether or not you expected a whole lot or you didn't expect a whole lot. I saw a couple fans were like trolling online. When I think it was like, 4 matches in, 5 matches in, I put like a standings post, like basically this, online, and it was like Justin towards the bottom end. And it was like, "Oh, I told you, everyone bitching about him being on Team USA." And I'm like, "Dude, it's like he hadn't played a WNT event in like 5 years, like just get like, go get a cheeseburger. Just relax for a little bit, you know?" Um,
Yeah, yeah. Call me on the third
yeah.
day, and we'll see at least, it's starting to look like. So I know Justin's playing right
Is
now
he?
against Atencio,
Well,
and he's
let's
kind of in
start
that
with
middle of the
Jesus, Mike, because
stack.
I'll start with the bottom end. And does that kind of surprise you? Obviously, you got little Kachi. You got a tale of Kachis on both sides. Big Kachi up top. He's the one leading the
Yeah,
pack.
right. One's 11-1, and
1
one's
and
one and
11.
11.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but
Or 1-10 and 10 and
that
1.
Cledio one kind of surprised me a little bit,
Yeah.
Mike, but what do you think about some of these guys there at the bottom, including Cledio, Jesus, Thorsten, Pius, Mora, Moritz, defending champion?
Yeah, some of those guys, a lot of it I look at it in terms of, it's really eye opening when you see Atencio, Claudio. I mean, they're games won and lost differentials like 19. Claudio's minus 19. That's
Yeah.
not good. That means he's pretty much getting smoked
Yeah,
every
yeah.
match. So then you look at someone like Moritz, he's 4-6, but it's only a 1-game
Yeah.
difference. He's only -1 on the games won and lost. So they've all been close. So he's, if you've lost a lot of 5-4 matches in this format, it's hard to say that you're playing
Yeah.
poorly.
Or you could just be
You're
winning
playing that much
consistently and
differently than the
losing
guy.
consistently, like 5-2, 5-3 kind of range, So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. I kind of look at the game differential more than I do, um, you know, as far as just gauging who's playing okay, and who's not. I mean, Jonas is 6-4, and he's actually 2 games in the red,
Yeah, yeah.
and Yap is 5-5, and he's
Even
actually 2
money.
games in the
Yeah.
black. So they 2 racks.
Oh,
So
yeah, it's right.
it's just kind of like you're just at this point, you're just trying to get to that next stage, right? And then take more swings. Um, and again, these guys, they're getting a lot of match action in, which is good. For us, for like Justin, that was the big thing for me. Is I like the fact that no matter where he finishes in this, he's going to get to play a lot of matches. He's already played. He's playing his 11th match now. So he's gotten plenty of swings at a cue.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, because it's a lot of pull. Like if you're waking up and then
Yeah.
you're going to bed, you're watching something. At least that's how the last few days have been for me, on both sides of it. And so no matter whether it's PLP or Pro Billiard Series out there in Vegas, like we mentioned before, but on the Cledio one, I'm a little bit. I don't know. Like, me, man. I've been real high on this kid, Mike, and there's not a whole lot to talk about with this kid because um, ever since he kind of basically took himself out of Mosconi Cup contention by not showing up out there in the Philippines, and so really
Yeah.
haven't spoken about him in months. But prior to, and especially going into last season, I mean, I'm real high on him. You know what I mean? And I think that his game in a tournament format is very different. Now, when it comes to putting himself in an event like this, I don't know what the miss is, but something's amiss, especially when you have that kind of differential in your wins losses along with that overall like percentage of losses. And so that part is a bit concerning. Obviously, with him, he's got a higher mountain to climb when it comes to really putting himself on the radar. And I know he's there like in terms of talent wise, but like he's not checking off any boxes for like his, is for him being a spectacular personality, so to speak, and so
Right.
that's not going to bode well for you. And especially in an event like this, it's like AJ, for example, he was, he was, you told me last year that he disappeared in this event and then he gets an invite back. So, I mean, what did you expect Claudio if he disappears? I wouldn't, and so, barring like a, like a,
No,
like a
not at all.
decent win, in a major that's like phenomenal or something. But, and then the Jesus one, this one for me is a little bit more concerning because this is where you're underneath the bright lights. I'm imagining that there's, especially in the evening time, there's some people around who are supporting you. I'm not saying it's Mosconi Cup type
Yeah.
stuff, but you're playing against decent players back to back to back to back. You know that you're on TV table every single time. You got no downtime in that aspect. And so, and for someone who doesn't have a lot of that experience, it's like that's where you start to kind of figure out, okay, what are you made of when it's that time? Now I love Jesus's game. I feel like
Yeah.
he's super dynamic. He's got a ton of upside. I think he's got superstar written all over him. He was Double J's pick, and I thought it was a great pick when he said, "Who'd he like to be in there on the tail end of it?" But to see him on the bottom side of it, Mike and Jesus, that was the one that I'm like, and especially because we're always going to look at it from the glass of, okay, what happens if he makes Team USA? Like if he were to go and get all that shit situated, which the Matchroom qualification process for being an American is very different than the WPAs. So it's like if
And the
yeah, yeah.
USFC.
So like if you were to get that exemption, then this is kind of like getting your foot in the water when it comes to being on a single stage type environment. I'm a little bit like I'm a lot of bit concerned when it comes to it, Mike. And there's been a few matches that I've watched of his where he has these moments, he's got these splashes in matches where like he can look very fluid and exciting and just looks like he's got the same style as AJ in terms of being natural. And then he's got other aspects where like he just presses too much and just tries too hard, where he's trying to force the shot, trying to create the momentum, trying to put, it's like these Europeans, especially, they'll let the game kind of more come to them and play more the right shot no matter what the score line is. And I feel like when you're trying to hit too many home runs, you'll end up striking out more often than not, if that makes sense, Mike. You know?
Yeah, it does. And for Jesus, it's this. I don't think this is like a Mosconi Cup primer for him, or if he's going to be on TV.
No.
I think this is for Matchroom. It's like, here's a guy who's got some star quality. Let's give him.
And there's not many of them that have star
inside this
quality on
arena.
the roster.
See how he does. Right. So for him, I think it's more a matter of how is he handling. What is he learning from this?
Sure.
He's not able to hide in the background on some outside tables for the first 3 rounds of
Right.
An open tournament.
Yeah.
This is so he'll learn from this. I'm sure he'll be fine. I expected him to do better, and like I expected Cletter to do better too, because he, I kind of thought he would come into this. Jesus,
train coming in.
Right,
You're good.
Yeah. Jeez, coming in hot. But I expected Cledio to take this event more seriously, more to heart than Eklund. And Eklund sometimes can be the one who kind of seems like he kind of cares, but he kind of doesn't. And if things aren't going well, it doesn't bother him one way or the other. But so I kind of thought I thought Cledio would be more dialed in for this event than Eklund. And it's been completely opposite. I mean, Big Koch is just it's ridiculous how well he must be playing. But yeah, Jesus was hoping that he would do a little better than this. Not the end of the world either way. I mean, it's the PLP. So
I think
he just wanted to see him get some action in there.
I think like if you were to take your emotions out of it, right? Like a lot of the guys who are at the bottom, you kind of would have thought would have been at the bottom, like just from an experience standpoint. Now, like Januarda, maybe he would have been an outlier because I probably would have pegged him with not a whole lot of experience. Maybe would have put him at the bottom. Obviously, I wouldn't have put Pius at the bottom. I probably wouldn't have put Cledio at the bottom either, for that matter. Certainly not the defending champion in Moritz. But like what I mean is these guys like Jesus and Thorsten, Mora, Chris Melling, AJ, whatever your opinion is on him, it's like a lot of these guys just don't have a lot of that experience compared to others when it comes to playing on that Matchroom TV table type environment, and so you would kind of expect it from some standpoints, but I don't know. It's if I'm, and again, I don't know what Mosconi Cup captaincy is like, right? And obviously we don't know either. We have been no announcements, nothing like that. But if I'm somebody who's going to be taking guys into consideration, obviously tournament pressure play, I'm going to value a little bit more, but I'm certainly going to keep this in the back pocket. I'll tell you that, Mike, when it comes to some of these guys, especially if they're like on the outside looking in, because how you fare against this type of competition is at least somewhat of a decent measuring stick versus like if you went deep in like Iowa or something,
Yeah, you're talking about for like the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, the other side of it is it's February.
Sure.
I don't care who plays poorly here in February. give me a call in November and let me know how they're hitting them. So yeah, would this help and would it do well? Yeah, but I'm not hanging a lot on this for how the year is going to turn out for some of these guys
Mike,
or how teams are going to turn out.
talk to me about Bergman for a minute, because obviously we both kind of, I don't want to say gave him a pass coming in, but we didn't expect a whole lot coming in. He's sitting there on the 8th spot right
Yeah,
now, kind of like in that middle of the pack, definitely, because he can shift
yeah.
downwards and be out today. He can go up and and make the first cut. So give me your thoughts on how he's performed over these first few days out there at Premier League.
What was it? He's losing 3-0 to Jesus. So
Is he?
this
Not a
isn't
good one, man. Not a good.
this isn't the start to the day
No.
you were looking for out of him. But I think that it's just going to be interesting to talk to him afterwards and find out, what's your takeaways from this? What'd you learn from it? What are you encouraged? Are you discouraged? Do you not care? So this is just kind of a test run for him. I mean, from what I understand, he got the spot without any, onto his head about, agreeing to play in other Matchroom events or whatever. It's just kind of like a free roll for him. If that's the case,
Oh,
we'll find out
is that
when
the
it's all said and
expectation then? There
done.
was no, like, you don't have to.
That's what I heard. That's what I
Okay.
heard. So,
Well, what
we'll
do you think
see when
about
he
that?
comes out of this.
What do
What's
you
that?
think about that?
I just think it's, well, for one, it was clear it was a little bit of a struggle to fill the field,
That's a
particularly with
given. That's a
Americans.
given for sure. Yeah.
Particularly with Americans. You need to get a couple Americans in there. And two, it's good to give him a free roll, let him get in there, and once he's in there now, then you've got JJ around him or Scott around him or the Matchroom guys around him, other players around him, kind of encourage him to stick with it. Maybe the boots on the ground there can help pave the way without you having to put a gun to
I
his
don't know
head.
if he's that
So,
guy though, Mike. I mean,
like I
like
said,
he's always marched to the beat of his own drum, and I've heard even over the years that they were.
he has.
That,
That's why there'd be no sense to putting the gun to his head anyways. He wouldn't have been
yeah, I
there.
mean,
So yeah, it's a free roll for him. Let's see what he takes away from it and see how he feels when he's done. Right now, he's kind of in the middle of the pack. If he loses this one, he's got some ground to make up because you want to get into that that next stage for two. And the next stage is it the top 8 or the top 10?
I think it's 10, but I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah, I
the.
think it's 10 too. I think 6 get dropped.
Yeah,
I think 6 get dropped.
yeah, yeah,
So you just need to stay in there,
yeah. I mean, you want.
because I want to see him take more swings. I want to play a little bit more and have the next round mean a little bit more, whatever. And let's see how he does.
Look, one of the things that it's always going to be an area of concern when it comes to anybody, getting back into the scene is going to be that break, and it's a big liability for a lot of guys. It's a big crutch for a lot of guys as well, and it's a reason why some of these guys, especially these guys here at the top, I mean, certainly they have different breaking styles, but we always liked, in principle, we talked about this on end, Justin's break we thought would do well in this format, and it didn't at the beginning, and it has now. And after the break, I felt like Justin has found himself with, at least the few matches that I've seen, he's had some growing pains that I would have expected, but boy, has he looked sharp at other spots, Mike. I mean, he has looked
Mhm.
really crispy at other spots, running out from everywhere, making smart decisions, playing containing safes whenever he needs to. Uh, and really just, like, to me, and maybe just because realistically the expectation was like bottom of the barrel. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying it to disrespect his game at all, but like, I expect there to be quite a bit of a learning curve when you get into a field like this, and you start playing guys like this, and even being at a 500, one, he's got the break to certainly compete on the WNT format. He can compete on 4-inch pockets, which is great as well, which is a big, like, we need that for if you're an American fan. But the other thing is, and it's kind of something that we've known for forever with Justin, is that he's just cold, man. Like, you don't see him get flustered or get
Oh
nervous
no,
or get like shaky or any of that, and so his poise out there is something to be admired, especially like if I were to think about, okay, well, how would he fare in a US Open, if he were to go deep or even just compete for that matter out there. And so it just kind of like it gets you excited to see what the future could be. Now, you saying that there was no commitment for him to play other events this year is very concerning and alarming for me, Mike, because that just like the the lack of commitment would be concerning, and the last thing
Lack of commitment from whose standpoint?
from his, because it's like if
Oh, well, I'm not saying that's not to say that he's not committed. That's to saying that they didn't put a gun to his head to play in this event. Okay.
Okay, I can see the
that's
difference there now that you mentioned it like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So I can appreciate that, and but I guess from the Matchroom side of it, that's just a little sad though, man, because like, man, you were really reaching to fill this field then. You were really reaching to get some like,
No,
decent
I
names.
think that they absolutely have hopes that he will. I think they absolutely have hopes that he will play more events this year, particularly since they're loading up in the US.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that they felt like they needed to give him an if-then scenario.
Sure.
Which is fine. That's like I said, let him make his own decision there. But he's got other people around him now in Florida who are going to be encouraging him to stick with it, right? So Matchroom didn't have to play the heavy. So to me, it all made sense. And we'll see. Again, I'm just be really interested to talk to him on the exit interview here and see what he came up with.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got the game to do it, though. I can tell you that. And I'm not going to take like a bunch of races.
Oh, sure he does. I mean, that's why everybody's so encouraged.
Yeah. Well, some people are thinking like it's just like blind hope, but Justin's got the game to go and back up like these expectations. And even though, like, to be honest with you, Mike, like I mentioned, I would have put him on the bottom 4 or 5 players, just because of having not been around and not played on these type of conditions. So for him to be where he's at, it's a huge plus, because I feel like he'll only get stronger. Now, it's very volatile in that it could shift the other way quickly, especially in this format. But all things considered, through the first couple of days, I'll take it. I think if he were to go and make the cut, or if he were to go and make that, however the end is, because I don't even really know how the end of this event is, other than like at some point they get down to whatever. I don't know what day that is, or I don't know any of that. But what I would say is that I don't think anybody would want to play him, and I think a lot of people would be happy that he'd be gone out of that list, because he's got all the makings and all the pieces. He's got to put them together still, but all the pieces to really be an absolute threat on the world stage. And so,
well, he didn't. He's only got one more match to go before they make the cut.
Okay.
And he's playing Pius, and he just lost 5-0. So his, if he ends up tied with everybody, then they start looking at
the rag differential,
game differential, right? So rack differential. So now he's a -5.
Where's he sitting at right now? Then did he move from the 8 spot, or where's he at then?
I would imagine that he moves from the 8 spot. Yeah, because he's going to be -5 now.
Yeah.
And, well, it depends. He's not going to get passed by Jesus, who just beat him. He's not going to get passed by Torsten if Torsten beats Moritz. He's not going to get passed.
Well, he would be
by
5 and
Mora.
6 then.
Well,
so he'll be
tied with Mora. And so he'll probably be behind Mora if Mora beats.
Yeah. No. I don't know, Mike, because it looks like
if Mora beats Yap, I mean, Mora's at -5 right now.
But he should be in that 5.
So if Mora beats Yap,
in that 9-10 spot, I mean, because he should be 5 wins, 6 losses then at that point. No, because he's 5 and 5 right
but he'll be behind Mora. He would be behind Mora, but he might jump ahead of. He might stay ahead of AJ. He might move ahead of Yap. No, he won't move ahead of Yap. So yeah, he could stay in that 9-10 spot right now.
Give me your thoughts.
But he's got to, then he's got to beat Pius, because I think we all want to see him make that second stage.
Yeah, I want to see him have a swing, and I think like there's enough of a range there from the wins, and you guys can take a look at. I think it's like the third column over is their wins, and the column. Well, so what is it? The left.
So right now, Bergen's at 10.
Okay, so so they just updated. There you go. Okay, so he's on the cut line, you know, which like I said,
Well, he's going to be below the cut line if Moritz beats Torsten, and he's going to be a bit below the cut line if
because of that game
Mora
differential then.
beats yeah.
There's a -5 versus
Yeah.
-1 on Moritz. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there you go. Well, then
you
I
know,
think that it'll be more meaningful. And that PS matchup is no walk in the park. PS breaks the ball is great. I know his record obviously in this event doesn't reflect where I feel like he's at in this field, but I mean PS breaks the balls really good, and he can withstand any situation. I feel like I'm real high on his demeanor and his execution. Mike, give me your thoughts on AJ, because obviously Matchroom, throws a parade for him anytime whenever he ties his shoes or you know puts his belt on or anything. Like, give me your thoughts on how he's fared in this event.
well, in this event, he's held his own. I mean, he's kind of in that middle of the pack, playing about 500 ball.
Yeah.
So it's just more experience. He's a young kid. They like him. They like him when the camera's on him. He likes when the camera's on him, and so just give him more opportunities, and that's what they're doing.
I think he's about to.
I don't blame them for giving him opportunities.
I'm if he was where you said he was at last year, then I don't understand putting him back in again this year. Other than like it's just really a social media reach, and I'm fine with it. But just
from last year's PLP was February, March too, right? Now since then,
last year was what? Say that again.
Was early in the year with the PLP too.
Yeah.
So by the end of the year, AJ had gotten the MVP for the Reyes Cup, and had a decent run in the Philippines Open. So that to me was I'd give him a shot.
Given how much everyone turned it down, I understand, but it's just it's the way you try to. I look at it from the standpoint of like them trying to prematurely crown this kid, and that's what it's hard to look away from. And maybe it's unfair to him, but that's just the way that I'll view it until like you kind of earned your stripes, so to speak. Because a lot of guys out here are decently decorated, or like have done something, in my opinion. Now I'm not saying everyone, clearly not everyone, but a decent amount of them, especially. But after a mediocre start last year, or finish last year in this event, and coming off Reyes Cup, okay, I get it, I'll take that for what it is. But if you're gonna be batting another 500, I mean, look, to me, let's let someone else get a swing to go and see what their upside is like, because now you're just riding coattails at this point, in my opinion. And it comes across real, like I mentioned before, when it comes with the way they promote this kid,
But you have to look at this event for what it is. When you talk about seeing if someone's got an upside, from Matchroom's perspective, and it's an upside on viewer metrics and excitement. They're not out here, let's give an opportunity to the next guy who's going to be world champion necessarily. It's let's give shots to people who draw fans in, can look good on TV, and we can have some fun with it. If they play well, then we get more airtime with them. I mean, they didn't put sail in this because they were hoping that maybe she was
in a great match last night. I don't know if you got to check that match out, but that was as the UK guys say, it's a cracker of a match, because it was a great one against her fellow countrywoman. No, I don't know. It's hard to really be. I feel like to be fair to that kid, because I feel like he's been fast tracked as far as being on the front stage without any resume to go and prove that, and or to say that it's deserving, in my opinion. And so, like, until you start securing majors, or even just go deep in a major tournament, like, give me some kind of meaningful win when it really counts, versus.
That's right. That's why I was surprised. The guy I was most surprised wasn't in this was Arseni.
I could have seen that. That one I would have been like, that one would make sense because he's been on the upswing. I don't know whether or not he got an invite or not.
He's on the upswing. He's charismatic. He's fun to watch.
Full of personalities.
I was surprised that, and maybe they invited him and he turned it down. So because he wanted to be in Vegas. But he's he's one that I would have thought would have
That's
been
a
like
good
a
one, Mike. Yeah,
natural
yeah,
for okay, let's
yeah.
so AJ, like I said, again, I try to look at the PLP for what it is, and for that standpoint,
But
AJ was
and
fine. I probably would have Sylvester gone off in there over Chris Melling or
yeah,
something.
yeah. At this point, for sure. Look, AJ may go on to snap this thing off because historically, guys who are in that range where he's at have found a way to get it done on the back end. But
Take
it's
the run,
never front. It's never guys who are going wire to wire. Huang has played great in this tournament. Fran has played great in this tournament. You got Robbie Capito up top
yeah,
as well. Kachi, like you mentioned, who's played phenomenal in this format. And actually, out of anyone, that's the guy that I'm taking more weight out of this event more than anybody, Mike. And it's for a number of different things. Number one is he looks like he's back to being that bad motherfucker that we've seen over the last few years. You know what I mean? Like just being
yeah,
an absolute juggernaut of a player, both physically and on the table. His break is phenomenal. His execution level has been top shelf. And the other thing that I really noticed, especially whenever he first hopped in the pool room this week, is his weight, because he looks like he's back to getting his shit together and back to being, you know what I mean, like getting
yeah,
himself right. And if you already have a top game whenever your diet and priorities and exercise have not been where maybe we all saw it years ago, but then now you're starting to get there, and then you got the game that's sticking along with the way that it's been. I don't even want to say on the upswing, because he's been right at that like 6-7 spot of Europeans consistently, and you can argue he should have been on Team Europe the past couple of years, especially including that year that he went out with an injury, and so if all things can kind of line up right and the stars can kind of come together, and when it comes to his diet, exercise, and routine and things like that, those are all well within his control. Clearly the guy's been practicing, so when you can
yeah.
control all those things and everything's kind of in order for yourself, I mean, this is what you're going to get. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that dude in, playing on Saturday nights and Sundays for a lot of big tournaments this year. And for that matter, I hope we do, because even though,
Well, again, with Kachi, that my big, I've got a guy down there, and what I told him is I want to talk to these guys and ask them all about what's the plan for the year.
yeah,
How
that's what I was going to get at.
Kachi
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming in rolling here. Does that mean Kachi is going to fill up his plate with events this year, or is he going to pop in and out? Like we've seen him do.
Well, that's the other part, Mike, is that like what would that commitment level be like? And that's where you'll have question marks. And historically, that's been a question mark on the kid. His practice schedule and his level of dedication has always been in question. How good of a teammate he is always been in question. So and those are things that like you've kind of earned that, as much as you can earn being, a 2-time world 10 ball champion and being one of the best 9-ball players on the planet. Like those other things you can kind of earn along with that. But like I said, right now it looks like he's handling it, Mike. And I would hope. And if I'm Matchroom, I'm pushing his ass to, hey, come play these events, man. Because one, you need all the star power you can get. Two, he can check off a lot of boxes. I know he ain't Mr. Social Media, but his game is impressive, Mike.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? His game and the way he breaks the balls, especially compared to some of these other motherfuckers who just soft break all day, every day. It's like it's easier on the eye to go and watch him play pool,
Yeah.
So
Especially with the shot.
yeah, I mean, well, he ain't getting, the only speeding tickets he's getting is on the streets, you know what I mean? But it's like he's a fun guy to go and watch take over an event, and right now he's been taking over an event, and in a format where that's hard to do, because it's really hard to stand out above the crowd, and he's standing out for all the right reasons, right? He's doing it just so to go and do it the way he did, I thought it was great.
Torsten beat Moritz, which really helps Bergman out. That was a big help for Bergman.
Look, he's already being American. If you're rooting against an American, that's step number one to being on Team USA. Because at some point you're gonna have to root against your guy to go and lose, right?
I mean, it helps him. So he's in 10th now, and so if he wins his next match, he'll stay in that top 10. So that's what he's got to do.
All right, Mike, I know we're not going to get you on this weekend because you're going to be out. So give me some picks that you're liking, or give me like 3 or 4 guys you're looking at to make the final this year. And I'm giving you 3 and 4. So don't go reaching now. Don't start picking, all 16 guys now.
to win, to be in that Final Four.
Finals. Event? If I'm giving you 4, you got to at least pick 2 guys in the finals.
Right. Well, yeah, Kachi for sure. There's no reason to think he's not going to keep playing with us. I still like Fran. I like Yap. And
you got it.
Let's take a flyer on Huarta.
Januarta? Is that how you pronounce that kid's name? Which, by the way,
I have no idea.
By the way,
I could triple him right now.
I'm gonna be a little tilted about that Pro Billiard Series World Teams for Indonesia because they got that dude who owns that business out there playing instead of Yap. I don't know if you saw that Carabao guy. So I think they got Januarta and then they got Sylviana Liu, but then instead of Yap, they got that guy who's been putting on those events.
Oh, well, Yap's Singapore. Oh. Yep, it's Singapore, dude.
Oh fuck. Okay, I'll shut up then. My bad. Okay, I want to get my one tilted. I thought they I thought they were on the same team, weren't they? Isn't Sylviana and Yap from the same country? No.
No.
Okay, I'm
no. They played in a couple mixed doubles tournaments.
Maybe that's where I'm at.
Not a world thing.
All right, then I'll shut up. Then that's probably what I should have done a long time ago. Anyway. All right. All right. Look, I think that guy at the end is going to be there in the Final Four in Kachi. I think he's just that tough, that dominating, and I feel like he can hold back on the experience of playing in tough races to 5 as well as these cupcake races to 5. So I'm gonna fancy him. I'm going with my man from Vietnam, a guy who plays good and about as quiet as anybody on earth. I'm going with Hong.
Yeah.
I love his all-around game, man, to be honest with you. I feel like he's a top 4 or 5 jumper in the world. He breaks the balls. He's composed under pressure. He makes great decisions, can do a lot of great saves as well. And that experience factor, I feel like, is a really big deal for him. My number 3 guy, I'm going with the Spaniard as well, but I'm not going with your guy. I'm going with the fresh meat. I'm going with Jonas. I think it's like, Jeremy had talked about like him kind of stepping into his own spotlight in this year, and the more that I really reflect on his game and the way he's been progressing, the more like it's hard to not support that pick. And he's shown where his form is at currently with where he stands. I feel like he's been in enough like decent Matchroom events, deeper in Matchroom events where he can lean on that as well for having some experience. And so I'm expecting him to kind of take that next leap. And then I'll pick those 3. I don't want to go 4 picks because I feel like that's just too many out of 16. But I'm going with
I like the Huang pick.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Listen, there's a lot of guys who are playing fluid, and as the event will go on, I'll start to enjoy it a little bit more. At the beginning, though, there's too much shit going on, and too many tables and too many matches to really get like excited about it. So
yeah, right.
But I'm sure, like I said, as the event goes on, then we'll jump into it. Mike, in Las Vegas, the Women's Open just started yesterday, along with the Men's Open a couple of days ago. What were some of the takeaways you had through the beginning of Las Vegas?
Well, the women just started yesterday, and they're only in their, they're playing this morning out there with the winners round matches. And I see
how's going on,
Yasmin's already won, Kalahara's won, Cheska's won, so they're into that second round of the winners.
On the women's, you're talking about, Mike? Man, dude, there was some great women's matches yesterday, Mike. Christina almost lost yesterday. That was a great match, and a phenomenal ending. I watched that one. And then that Sale match, both the ladies who were been in World 9-ball, World 10-ball finals back to back, both almost had first round losses, which just shows how deep this tournament is. And they were like decent matchups. Like, I have a hard time getting into these tournaments, like in general, at that at that point. Like marquee matchups were always like, I'm getting excited about it. I want to see how top players are playing. But man, from the beginning, those two lived up to the bill, Mike. I mean, it was some good stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, no, it's a good. They got a really really strong field there. So yeah, it's a long way from being over. I saw Savannah won her second round match on the winner's side.
Is she 2-0 now, or did she lose? Did she lose her first one?
No, she won
Okay.
2 now. So yeah, she was still on the winner's side today. Men start this afternoon. I did notice a couple things I saw early on was that Vitaly Petsura went out
Shocked.
quick.
I'm shocked at that result.
Lost one of his first matches.
I would have picked him.
Yeah,
I would have picked him to go real deep in this tournament, Mike.
Yeah. Well, not gonna happen.
No. He gone.
Yeah, he gone. So Filler had 3-setter right out of the gate. I don't know. It's I expect today a couple of upside down matches to surprise you just because of the short races and the format, and a lot of really good players. So that's usually the way it runs.
I'm kind of cruising through here on the men's winter qualification. SVB and Jeremy Saucy, that should be a good one. 2 Mosconi Cup teammates and Skylar and Tyler. That one should be a good one. Sky's playing good pool, and I love Tyler's 10-ball break. So I think like before Derby, I probably would have picked Tyler in this matchup. Right now, I'm picking Skylar, and I don't think it's going to be close, to be honest with you. I would take that back. Maybe like 4-3, 4-3, or 4-3, 4-2, something like that. Jason,
I'm picking Bader.
I was going to say, Jason and Bader. You're picking Bader over Jason Shaw?
Yeah.
How come he can make those? Like if I make that pick, those guys hate me. Let's.
Well, I just know that Gator has just spent a week with Johan.
Oh, is that right? Oh, so you got some inside. You got some inside information there. That's the reason why you're picking him then, because he's tuned up.
That's what makes you Adam Schefter.
There you go.
Right? You got to
know. I said a lot to learn.
Wise
one. 2 fellow countrymen again.
So I don't know. People spend a week in camp. Usually like their first swing.
I'd say so. I mean, certainly his timing is going to be on point, and his confidence for that matter as well. Mario He and Max Lechner. Max was the first one to beat Vitaly in the opening round, which was, I don't want to say surprise, but like I said, I would have picked Vitaly in that match, but I think I did.
Max playing Mario is like countryman buddy right out of the gate. That's a tough. Max coming off just getting married.
I know. Congratulations, my man Max. Wojciech and David. I didn't realize David was out there. I'm like, I thought David wasn't there, and now he's playing Wojciech here in winners qualification.
Yeah, I mentioned that the other day. He thought that I was blowing smoke.
And now Federer and Victor. That's the one I'm gonna be excited to watch, Mike. Federer and Victor. And why are they on table 3 though? They should be on TV table. Federer and Victor is one that I would have loved to see this matchup, and I have been excited to see this matchup, except whenever this matchup does happen, Federer just dominates Victor, man. Like, I mean, he's just owned him.
Well, we know what Victor's like when someone gets in his head.
Yeah, that's the problem. But that's the reason why I feel like I want to root for him even more, because I'm like, man, just get out of there and get out of your own head and go out there and cause some waves. This tournament, like the format rather, has grown on me over the years, and it adds this level of volatility that I feel like is great for sports, because it reminds me a lot of watching tennis, Mike, to be honest with you. And I don't mean that just in the sense of sets, but in the sense of like what upsets can happen, how you can go and handicap things like that, and so, but some guys are just, like I said, they're in their own head, and I feel like that's just one of them. Albin and Levan, that's going to be a fucking fire matchup too. That's right below Jason and Bader. That should be really, really, really good. So it's already getting closer to getting towards that business end of it. Like I said, on the women's side of things, Mike, I've been checking that out as well. It's stacked full of all the ladies from Classics last week. Han Yu is there. Seao is there. A lot more
Yeah.
Rubelin goes out the very first or the second round, I should say. Sophia coming off of a strong win. I forgot who she played in round one, but it was she beat Silviana in round one, and now she's up 1-0 on sets over Pearl Chang. And Pearl's been playing some great pool over the last year and a half. Strong player from Taiwan, and Sophia is once again showing her own class on the women's stage. Like I said, Christina dodged a bullet, and she's up right now in the first set against Brittany Bryant. Zlateva's there. The Han Yu and Kelly is on TV table, and that one's 2-2 in the second set. One set is going to Han Yu. That one's a great one too. I think Buddy took down or took a set off of Kelly Fisher yesterday to kick off the women's event. So, give me some.
And the interesting thing about this tournament, for the men and the women, is it's just an open. It's not a world championship or anything. So this is best of three all the way through.
Oh, is it?
When you get the elimination, it doesn't go to best of 5 sets. No, this is best of 3 sets all the way through. So I expect to see, there's going to be upsets all through it.
Wow.
So that kind of adds a different element to it.
That's a huge twist. Yeah, because you always feel like once you can cross that threshold, then you can you got a little bit more of a safety net to fall fall back on. So that's going to be interesting. Look, give me some ladies you're looking at to make the business end of that tournament, Mike. There's a lot to choose from.
Han Yu, for sure. I like her a lot. We saw what Rita Chow did in Florida. She was firing on all cylinders the second half of that tournament. Just the Asian women, Cheska.
She just came off a 2-0 win over Ashley Benoit right now too in winners round one.
Yeah, so you just look at them. There's just so many of them that fire strong. It's kind of hard not to pick one of the Asian women players. I mean, Jasmine, Pia, Christina. There's a lot of these, women, European women who certainly could win, but it's hard not to pick one of those Asian players getting to the final when you look at how deep they are.
So I remember, I think the first Pro Billiard Series event that Seau won was in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, a few years ago, and maybe that was, and maybe and at the time she wasn't like who she is now. I mean, obviously now we know her, but then we didn't. At least I didn't anyway, Mike. Because all those ladies you just mentioned, you knew all those ladies and then some. And you've known them for quite some time, whether they were on the up and coming or they've been around for a long time and still, dominating or consistent at the very least. I'd love to see someone kind of do that same thing like she did. And to me, she really came from out of nowhere. And I certainly now she's top shelf all the way through for sure, and her poise yesterday was just great, especially in that matchup where it was huge chance for her losing that matchup. It's hard, Mike, because it is so deep, and I hate to pick, me, I hate to pick back-to-backs, but certainly Cheska I'm going to like just because I feel like her style is going to be really imposing and can be intimidating. Now that can be a slippery slope depending on if you lose your footing a little bit, and how quick things can kind of shift in that format, like game to game, match to match, ball to ball. But I mean, Pia, I like, obviously. Jasmine, even though she never really gets the respect that she deserves, she's always around at the end of these events, and so so many ladies to go and choose from. Rubelin, even though she went out, I still like her chances. I mean, call me crazy. And then you mentioned Han Yu. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see her there, in that Final Four at all. So we haven't even mentioned Wei Wei. I didn't even mention Margaret Fefalova. Zlateva's still there. So there's a lot of ladies who can go out there and cause some waves in this one. I think in the end though, I'm going Cheska. I'm going to go with Cheska. Who else am I going? I don't want to go with Rita Chow just because I don't want to pick back-to-back winners. I tell you what, final one I'll pick in Final Four is give me Sophia Mass to make the Final Four in this tournament because I feel like she's she's hitting that kind of gear. And listen, it was a world championship of late that she went deep in. And we talk about steps and progressions and all these things all the time with players. And there's a lot of promising young American juniors, like on the male and female side of it. But she seems like she's taken some heartbreaking losses along the way, which you need to have happen to show how resilient you are and what you're really made of. I feel like she's kind of paid her dues. She can play big against anyone. I feel like she's also a match where maybe she's kind of in some ladies' heads, so to speak, because she is, even though she's like a little kid, right, or a young female, that there's always that factor of older, an older woman or an older man not wanting to lose someone younger than them, and so how mental that can be. I'd pick Sophia to go deep, Mike, and then flip the coin, man. I mean, Tkach is still going to be a threat, and she always does real good in Pro Billiard Series. Seau, I wouldn't count out, especially once you start dodging some bullets. So, but one thing's for certain, Mike, is that I'm going to be watching all weekend long because it's going to be a pretty exciting end. And then come Monday, we're going to be out in Vegas, baby.
There you go. And Monday night will be the finals of both the men's and women's opens.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah. Perfect. So that means we got to do some fucking work on Monday. Listen, I did not coordinate it that good. I was just throwing something out there and
it's gonna be there
and seeing if it stuck. Yeah.
So what are you guys doing?
Yeah. What are we doing, guys? We're in Vegas. Yeah. No.
Where are we at here? Who's doing well?
I swear, because someone was asking me like a day ago, and they were like, "What's your availability going to be like?" And I'm like, those first couple of days I'm good, like whatever, those first couple of days, and then now hearing that, which is great, don't get me wrong, I love it, and I'm going to be there sweating it for sure. I'm going to sweat both finals.
That'll be great. Monday night will be great. Tuesday, Wednesday, you're going to be pretty, just the first couple of rounds of all the world teams, and then the world teams will get to the business end of it Thursday and Friday.
Let me get you out here on this, because I know you're on a tight schedule, Mike. Who do you like in the teams? Because there's a lot of decent teams to go and choose from. I mean, a lot of decent teams to choose from.
It's hard. It's hard not to.
And that's the World Championship too, right, Mike?
Yeah, it is, and it's it'd be hard to repeat, but it's hard not to look at Moritz, Pia, and Josh on the same team and say, here's three players who are all like top tier in their fields. So, you're talking about three top tenors on one team.
Moritz has gotten better since they played all those 2 years ago, whatever.
So it's hard to look at them and not think, who the hell's beating this team? But it'll be interesting to see if I know they have a little tweak in the format this year. It'll really be interesting to see how that affects, if that affects, one team's strength versus another.
What do you mean, Mike? So tweaking the format for what?
Well, didn't Vincent tell us that they were doing that they had tinkered a little bit with the format for the world teams in terms of doubles and singles and women having to play here, and they had made some adjustments.
Yeah, there was some where you had to there was more of a strategy to it for sure. Where as far as who you put where. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if that if that all of a sudden gives someone else maybe a little bit of an advantage that they may not have had previously.
Well, I think that plays more of a value when you have certain players who are liabilities, and I wouldn't put Team Germany in that category, because I can rely on those girls I can rely on those boys and girls against any boy or girl, whoever, right. So and now with Pia just getting more doubles experience, that would be the only way that I would say that, she's got a hole in her game or maybe a question mark, but she's getting more experience playing in these doubles events. So it's just like, and not only that, but out of her comfort zone and not just playing with Joshi, so, which I feel like just helps her overall game as well. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, they're going to be rough, Mike.
They don't have the, they don't have the format spelled out here like they do if you look at like some of the other events. It'll tell you what the races are and all that stuff. They don't have the format listed here on their website.
Look,
So,
what
but I know that they did some tampering with it.
one thing that's a guarantee is that players show different levels of pressure when they have somebody else depending on them. You know, we've seen that with all kinds
Yeah,
of
that's the whole thing with teams.
yeah. You know, we've seen that with Mosconi Cups, Reyes Cups. We've seen that in these World Teams. We've seen it in the World Cup of Pools. You name it. And so you'll just start seeing different layers to players' games that you haven't seen before. And some people can do good on it. Some people cannot do good on it. Look, obviously, anybody from Asia is going to be a threat. Those Europeans, though, to me, it's Team Germany or bust. Although the Austrians, by the way, they got Albin, Mario, Max, and Jasmine. So look out for them as well.
Just see Team Chinese Taipei has 5 players.
Yeah. What do they got? Who do they got on there? Ryan?
They're rolling in heavy. They got Kunlun
Wu Kunlin?
Amber Chan, or no.
Rita's got to be on that. Yeah,
Rita, Wei Wei.
Women's pretty stout, Mike. No, I mean, I love Wu Kunlin.
Yes. Hasea.
Oh, yeah. He's a bad dude, too.
He's a bad dude too. But yeah, I mean, for one, I don't like splitting my team 5 ways.
Hey, listen, at least you got some options.
It's a good payout.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, if you
got some options, but now you got to share the wealth.
Go sit on the bench. You know, imagine that, man. Because imagine if the Cobras would have been there, you know, and then you would have had 7 guys deep on that team. You know, so, but. Yeah, that's going to be another tough team. There's a lot of them that are like that, Mike, that are not so much in terms of the volume of players, but like just the quality of talent, you know. And call me crazy, and you know me, I'm not a homer by any means, but one team that I'm really pumped about seeing, Mike, and that I really got expectations and hopes for is Team USA A. You know, because that's Savannah Easton, Sky Woodward, and Shane Van Boning. That's a team I can get behind, Mike. That's a team that I feel like can cause some serious damage. And I know Team USA B is my boy Oscar and Opie and Sophia Mass. But that Team USA A, man, they got chemistry, right? They're on home. They got home court for better or worse, right? Because that can be a catch-22. And I feel like there's some expectations there, Mike, because hell, you got to at least get Final 8 at worst, you know, with those with those types.
Think about Team Philippines.
Who you got? Oh, who do you got?
Carlo, Rublin, Cheska, Jeffrey Rhoda.
You could have just stopped without Rhoda and you would have been good. Yeah, I would have taken.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, there might be some spots where you'd be playing the 2 women and Carlo.
Yeah, and you know what? Honest to God, Mike, I'd have full trust in those two. And those 2, I'd have full trust because they spar on a regular out there, you know, with whoever in the Philippines. You know, they're not just staying.
They may be looking at Rhoda as the alternate here.
Oh yeah, man. Why wasn't Chua there? Imagine Chua being in that foursome. You know,
he's not over.
No, I know. That's what I mean. I wonder why he.
And he's not at the PLP, so he's kind of just off the grid.
It's kind of weird, man. I would have loved to have seen him in that group for sure. And he was there with World Teams, wasn't he, a few years ago with all them? I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah. Well, listen, you can never count out the Philippines for sure. They got the heart of a champion. They fight for their country. They play these world championships better than most, you know, and especially I'd imagine there's a pretty decent payday on the back end of it as well. So I don't know what first place is paying out, but you're gonna start seeing some tight arms, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know the payout's 120 first.
That's solid. Imagine chopping that up with 3. You're getting 40 apiece. You know?
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't like it at 5.
Don't like it at 5. No. Definitely don't like it at 5. Bye-bye, Team Taipei. No, I'm just kidding. Look, I from the sports standpoint, like I don't like it from a financial aspect, but from the sports side of it, it's interesting because it gives you that option to pull a guy back. You know, now that can be a little knee jerk at times, and we're going to see whether or not that plays into effect. But at least it gives you an option, which you get in every sport, Mike. I don't care who it is, right? You've seen it before. I've seen guys get out in big games before.
Who's making the decision? Who's making the call?
Well, it depends on who the boss is of the team. It's Carlo for sure on the Team Philippines. And you got to imagine.
So,
well, Josh can't pull Pia, so there's only 3 of them, so they can't pull them.
I'm looking at some teams. Who's doing it on Team Austria? Albin?
You, shit, that's a brutal spot to be in if you're Albin, right? Yeah.
I mean, really, it's a tough spot to be. I mean, then you look at some teams and you're like, okay, Team Hong Kong, Robbie Capito, I guess. I mean, you got Loho Sam, Wan Fu, and
listen, I don't want to disrespect
Hong. I mean, there's some teams where you look at, you're like, okay, I don't know who's wearing the pants in this thing.
I don't want to disrespect Team Hong Kong, but I don't think they're gonna have to worry about it, And so I'm not sure they're gonna have too many concerns.
Who's making the decision for Team Spain? Fran, David.
Oh, it's David. It's David. It's David for sure. David's the hierarchy, and then even though Fran's a world champion, it's still in that type of culture. It's all about age, Mike. So it's age first.
Right. So
yeah.
So Jonas isn't going to get much table time, is he?
Listen, we'll see all you guys and gals out there in Vegas. Mike, it's been a fun show. I'll see you on Monday, my man, and we'll be for sure be out at the final and for sure be out at dinner. You guys go enjoy. Sweats and matches are on all day, all weekend long. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We'll see you.